Hello everyone, I'm KB Kwan from TasteAsianFood.com. Today I want to show you how to prepare a Chinese dessert called Hong Dao Sa or red bean soup. It only requires 3 ingredients: the red beans, sugar, and the dry tangerine peels. It is a dessert that is now commonly available in most of the Chinese cafe, as well as be part of the menu in the Chinese banquet. When you cook it in your kitchen, the aroma is so intense that I think everybody in your family will know about it. So do you want to know how to do it? Let's follow me in this video and I will show you how to make it step by step. Here are the red beans I purchased, about 300 grams. Rinse with water to remove the impurities. Then I transfer it into a plastic container. Add some water to the containers and make sure the water is enough to cover all the beans. Let the beans soak in the water until the beans are fully hydrated. Come back and show you after 3 hours. I've soaked the red beans in water for 3 hours. It may not be very clear on the video, but in fact, the red beans have increased in size after absorbing plenty of water. The red beans that have been soaked in water will be able to disintegrate much faster during boiling. But I would like to show you another trick if you want to make it even faster. Keep it in the freezer overnight. The water absorbed by the red beans will turn into ice and expand in volume. And with that changes, the disintegration during boiling is even faster. Now I'll keep it in the freezer. On the next day, I remove it from my freezer and it looks like this. Now I transfer it to a pot and start cooking. Add 1.5 liters of water to 300 grams of red beans. Then start boiling. It will take some time to boil the water because the red beans are very cold. But you can use the ladle to stir it and break up the block of red beans to speed up the process. Once the red bean soup is boiling, keep it at constant boil for the next 1 hour. Meanwhile, get a few pieces of dry tangerine peels. Put it into a bowl and add some water to soften it. The color of the dry tangerine peel that I use right now is quite dark in color, which means that they have been kept for many years. In this case, the dry tangerine peels was given to me by my mother-in-law, and she said she has made this and dried it 10 years ago. So the flavor is very intense. If you get some dry tangerine peels with a lighter color, that means it has only dried for 3 to 4 years. And most likely you may need to add 1 or 2 extra pieces to get the same flavor. Once the dry tangerine peel is softened, remove it and use the back of a spoon to scrape off the pith, which may be a little bit bitter, which we do not want. Yeah, this is the one. And then cut the peels into small pieces so that the peels will dissolve quickly inside the red bean soup. Transfer the chopped tangerine peels into the pots. And at the same time, get 2 or 3 pieces of pandan leaves. This is the pandan leaves, and put it inside and boil it together. It is a little bit long, so I tied it into a knot. Dump it inside. And continue boiling with the lid on for, as I said, about 1 hour. until all the beans are softened. We have already boiled the red bean soup for about 1 hour. Look at the color. The soup has already changed to dark maroon and the beans are all expanded and looks soft. So I would like to take just a little bit of the beans without the liquid and use the back of the spoon to mash it and to see whether it is really soft enough. Yes, now I can mash it. So that means I can proceed to the next step. Let me remove the pandan leaves and pour the red bean soup through the wire mesh strainer to capture all the beans. Drain and then transfer to another container. And return the liquid back to the pot. Then mash the red beans with the back of the metal ladle or a metal spoon. This will shorten the time that is required to disintegrate the beans. You can use the food processor to do this, or you can use an immersion blender to blend it straight away over here. But I prefer to use the back of the ladle because I can control it better. And I do not want to mash all of them. I do not want it to become a paste. Instead, I still want to maintain some of them as a whole piece. So I guess that's good enough. And I'm going to return this back to the pot. Now is the time for you to do some quality control. Look at the red bean soup. It is quite thick now. If you prefer to have more diluted red bean soup, you have to add water now, not later. And preferably add hot water or boiling water. The reason why you need to add water now is because you need to boil it so that it will not separate into 2 layers. If not, the water that you add in the last minute will separate from the red bean suspension when you serve, and it will not be considered as a good red bean soup. I prefer more diluted red bean soup, so I want to add some additional water. The water that I have added is now sufficient. Next is to add the sugar. I'm using rock sugar. If you don't have rock sugar, you can just use any ordinary granular sugar. And also, the amount of sugar is very flexible. You can add more or a little bit less. It all depends on the sweetness that you want. Also, just a little bit of salt to balance the sweetness. You can also add some optional ingredients such as lotus seeds or sago at this time. I have some sago over here. Not going to put too much, just about 2 tablespoons, as too much will turn the texture of the red bean soup to become a congee, which is not what I want. So just a little bit. Now heat up the red bean soup again and boil for another 20 minutes. At this time you do need a little bit of techniques, but it's not a very complicated techniques. First, boil it over only low heat. Look at the small little bubbles. That is the maximum you should go for. Secondly, keep stirring. If you don't stir enough, the red bean soup may get burned and the red bean will stick to the bottom of the pot and it will ruin the whole pot of red bean soup. So just be a little bit cautious about this. Remember the texture at the beginning. Look at the texture now. It has changed so much. The consistency and the texture of the Cantonese style red bean soup should look like this. the red bean should be partially disintegrated. Once you got this texture, switch off the stove and it's time to enjoy. Cantonese style red bean soup. Add a little bit of coconut milk on top to enhance the flavor and as garnish. Thanks for watching, and I hope you will like this video. If you like the recipe and if you want to try it, please get the recipe by following the link in the description right below the video. And don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until the next video, I'll see you again. My name is KB Kwan. Bye for now.